Hi everyone, welcome back to Creatively Crafted Life. This is Melanie and today is the next installment in my Use Your Scraps series. So in a previous video I used some punches to actually make a 12 by 12 layout, and today we're going to use some punches to make some cards. So some shapes that I think will work really well to make these cards. I have a couple different sizes of stars. I have this diamond or rhombus shape. I have a couple different sizes of hexagons. Hexagons are all the rage right now, so that's right in style. And then I also have some various heart punches. So this heart was the one we used in the 12 by 12 layout. So I'm going to focus on using up some of my solid cardstock. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to town and start punching, and then I will show you the designs that I come up with using those punches. Okay, so I thought at this point I would show you where I'm at. I have put together I think 16 cards. I've used up a whole lot of scraps. You can see here this will go in the recycle bin, and what's left are these card bases. So I used all the punches that I pulled out. This pattern here was done with the rhombus punch, and I made 2 of these cards and just changed the configuration of the colors so that you get a completely different look. This one almost looks like mountain ranges, doesn't it? I also did quite a few with the hearts because I like to send out Valentine's cards, so these are all effectively the same thing. The only thing that might be different is some of the patterns, but I thought I'd make a bunch of these to send as Valentine cards to my nephews and nieces, and I know it's still a ways away, but I have 18 of them. I think almost 19 here shortly, and so it doesn't hurt to have a few already made before February rolls around. So these ones here, I just punched out the shapes and glued them directly onto the card base. I used a T-square ruler to align them. To be honest, I only really centered the one, used the T-square ruler to line up, and then just eyeballed the rest. So it didn't take very long at all. I still had a few hearts left over after that, so I thought I'd try something a little bit different. So I used some of the smaller hearts as well and did this kind of random pattern. Well, I guess it's not really random. I guess it's like a mirrored pattern. So it's mirrored this way and mirrored this way. Then I used the hexagons and I layered the larger and the smaller ones and just, you know, came up with a pattern that I thought looked kind of interesting. Also using the rhombus, I did almost like a quilt pattern. If I had made this to be a full star, it wouldn't have fit on the card front, so I opted to do only half of one. And again, I just changed the configuration of the colored paper so that every one of them is slightly different. Now this one here, you'll notice, is a little bit narrower than the others, and that's because I goofed on the placement. It was quite far off center, and so all I did was just trimmed it down into a smaller shape, and I like how that turned out. And then the last set I made were using the stars, and I actually pulled some pattern scraps. So this was in my scrap pile, and all I did was layer the stars on top with a little bit of foam tape below the teal shaped, and then added the green one on top. Some of these still need a little bit of embellishing. I'm probably going to do a little bit of pen work on some of them, and then they also need some sort of sentiment. So that is what I'm going to work on next. I've completed all the cards. I'm just going to give you a quick peek at the finished results, and some of these I kept fairly simple, and some of them, well, let's just say I didn't know when to stop. So if you like a lot of bling, I've got you covered, and if you like something a little more simple, I hope I've got you covered there as well. So these first cards are the ones that I did for Valentine's Day, and all I added was a black strip that I cut into a banner shape. Here, let me hold that up. And just had the words Happy Valentine's Day embossed in them. To keep it simple but still add a little something, I added the 3 little, I guess, enamel dot kind of things. They are glittery, but you could leave those without if you wanted to go even more simple. So that's what I did with these ones. And here's the pink equivalent. And then I pulled out the rhinestones and went a little crazy. I had these little flowered rhinestones in my stash forever, and I put a couple down, and then I put a couple more, and then a couple more, and the next thing you know, yeah, this is what happened. But as these are going to young girls, I figure they're probably going to love all the little shine and bling anyways. And this one here, I didn't add any of the rhinestones on the hearts themselves, but just filled in the space. For the cards that I used, the diamond shape or rhombus, I kept very, very simple, and all I did was embossed the words "Have a lovely birthday" on them, and I actually did not do anything else other than that. The green ones that I used the diamond punch on, I thought kind of reminded me of a snowflake, and so I turned these into Christmas cards, and all I did was punched out a white snowflake from some scraps, as well as the season greetings with a die, also from scraps, and then I just used a white gel pen to kind of outline some stitching so that it looks like a quilted background. So they're all basically the same design. I added one little rhinestone in the center, and this one and the other one I had some little half pearls. So for the hexagon ones, all I did was outline the shapes to give a little bit of definition and some contrast, and then I had this little happy birthday greeting that fit just perfectly in these little sections, and I thought that worked quite well. They're both exactly the same, just the color configuration's a little bit different. And then for the stars, all I did was stamped a happy birthday in the bottom. I did some dash lines just on either side of the long strip of paper. And on this one, I left the interior stars as is. And on this one, I did some sketchy line work in them. So just different ways that you can change things up if you want. So those are the cards that I created using scraps and punches. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, happy crafting.